everyone, this is Sohini with Dabble Lab and welcome to episode 12. I think it's episode 12 today. And today we're gonna do amazing stuff. But before that, I want to make sure that, it's episode 11, I'm so sorry. And today I'm gonna make sure that our learning process is smooth. But before I actually begin, I will want to know if the audio, if the video and everything's fine. I don't know why my Mac is crying. It's giving me a very huge fan sound. That might be because I'm streaming. That might be because I've got a lot of tab open in my Google Chrome. But anyways, if there's anyone who's watching me right now, can you please confirm if the audio, video, and if the background music is not too loud, whatever. Can you just confirm? I'd love to know. That'd be really great. And then I can begin. Sangin says that the audio and video are awesome. Alright, thank you so much. And hi, thanks for joining my stream. So today we're gonna talk about interceptors in an Alexa skill. Not quite sure if you've heard of interceptors before, or if you've used interceptors in an Alexa skill before. But don't worry. In today's stream, we're gonna discuss in detail about it. Hi, Samart. Thanks for joining. So today's stream, we're going to discuss about it in more detail, and I'd love to see questions coming up from you people, and also if you have suggestions, if you have anything that you want to add, you can do that as well. Alrighty, so without wasting some more time, let's just begin to put this up on slide. So I'm not quite sure, but every time I put on my this keynote stuff on this presentation, it kind of captures my both the screens, the monitors and my laptops as well. So for the timing, I cannot see your chat questions, but I will get back to it once I'm done with the presentation. So as I mentioned that we'll be talking about interceptors today. So let's first understand what an interceptor is. So basically, you would, in simple language, you would always want something to be there that's gonna, like, I'm not sure if you've ever seen algorithms. Of course you have if you're a developer, and if you are not a developer or if you haven't seen that, I'll just explain. So when you begin an algorithm, you've got start, then you got the body. The start could be begin, then you got the body, and then you got end. And the body consists of the main code, all the operations, but the start and begin are just two flags that's going to begin and end. And sometimes when we're trying to run that particular program or the operations constantly for multiple times, we would want to really have a head start and an end point that will help us know that when it's getting started and when it's getting ended. So that when you go to the logs later on, once you're trying to build let's say a skill that calls an intent or a handler multiple times, an intent handler multiple times, and you want to keep track of it actually, like whether like before the prompt goes inside your intent handler and just after it goes out of your intent handler, and before it goes into that particular intent handler or to some other intent handler at some point of time. You want to keep track of it. That's when the interceptors come to function. So they're gonna kind of put potential flags that's gonna tell you, alright, so there are two types of interceptors. One is the request interceptors and one is the response interceptors. So the request interceptor is so let's say you're gonna invoke an Alexa skill. Okay, let's forget Alexa for a moment. Let's just think of a scenario. So you wanna start a program that's gonna keep happening for every day. Let's say, like some particular program that's repeating every single day. So you would want to start something before the program. You want to flag like, all right, now. So that's it. Like when you trigger that particular program or function, the first thing that gets triggered or that gets affected is the request interceptor. So the request interceptor in an Alexa skill, when you think of an Alexa skill, let's say you've got a launch intent handler that greets a person. So you want that to happen multiple times, or even if you don't want to have that multiple times, it's just for your own like you want to keep your code clean. You want to avoid some particular things, which we're going to discuss in the next slide, like why there's a need to utilize the interceptors. So the request interceptor is going to be the first thing that gets logged in your CloudWatch logs before it actually goes to the launch intent handler. So normally when we're building an Alexa skill and we're not using the request and the response interceptor, and we go to the logs, and let's say we're logging a statement or something inside of the first intent handler, when you invoke a skill, the very first intent handler that gets triggered is normally the launch intent handler or hello world or whatever you're setting to be the default one. And then what happens is that gets logged. But when you're using request interceptor, you don't have to call a request interceptor. You just write the function in your code, and then you register it on the bottom where you're adding the lambda and all the other attributes. Let's say you've taken anything else where you're registering it. So there you have to register the request and the response interceptor. So that was the part when I explained request interceptor. Now talking about response interceptor, let me see if I have any questions on the chat. Samarth asks, so basically like logging, yeah, it's kind of similar to logging, but it's actually kind of a log that it's not like, it's a log, but it's not similar to what logs do. It is kind of a, what do I call it? It's like a notification stuff. Like it's like a flag. Just consider it as a flag. It's just giving you that before you get started and just after the request is resolved, when then the response interceptor comes to the action. Rahil Ashraf gives a thumbs up. Hey Rahil, hi, thanks for joining my stream. So alright, so we just discussed about the request interceptor. Now we're gonna talk about the response interceptor. Also folks, if you have any questions, please keep asking those questions on the chat. So I'm gonna do that simultaneously. I'm gonna answer all your questions simultaneously. Okay, so the response interceptor, these are invoked immediately after the execution of the request interceptor, of the particular intent that was in between, that was just after the request interceptor, which could be your launch intent handler. So we're going to do a demo of this pretty cool, pretty quick, just after I finish explaining this part, because it's important that you know if you haven't heard about it before. And just because the response interceptors have access to the output generated from the execution of the request handler, they're idle for most of the tasks, like for response sanitization or internalization and validation. So these are some of the use cases of the response interceptor. That's how it's going to function. So I think we're good so far. Yeah, it's pretty useful, Samarth. It's really useful. Because it's got a lot of utility. Like, I will talk to you about the utility to all of you. So Sangin says that you always answer the questions in the medical, she's in a college project. Thank you so much, Sangin. The compliments really touch my heart and gives me the motivation to do much better every single stream and every day. I really hope you keep coming to my streams, and I really hope that I learn so much from you and I be able to give you lots, and that goes to all my viewers. So now coming to the part where we have a couple of more things. So the use cases, while talking about the use cases in here, so I've got a couple of use cases that I feel are really strong. So the first one is for debugging, and it's good for debugging stuff, really, when you want to know like if there's an issue, like in most of the cases, like I've seen in some of the cases, what happens is when I'm invoking a skill or a particular handler that I want to come up, it's not actually working, but I can understand if the what's that, if Alexa's really getting into that particular handler or not, and I can't log it. So what I do, I just go and just do a console.log inside that particular handler, and I don't see that in the CloudWatch, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Now I'm gonna know what's happening, whether if it's like till which part is it coming and after which part is it getting lost. I think that's one of the best places where this is going to be useful, using the interceptors, the request and response interceptors. They are not they're not kind of restricted to the launch intent handler only, so make sure that you are clear to this part. They are functionable for any intent handlers, and you can set them accordingly in our code. I will teach you how, and then you can utilize that further. The second thing is for cleaning up your responses. Sometimes we've got so much that we can't handle, and it's like, or what's that, like when we're requesting Alexa for something, it just gives us, let's say, an audio URL. The audio URLs are so big, the pre-signed ones, if you've used Alexa hosted S3 audios in an Alexa skill. So I'm working on a skill that uses bunch of audio files, and it's so difficult to just, like go to the logs and see so many audio files, so many URLs, and it's so messy, trust me. I think that's one of the best parts, and it's not so likely to have a log, because logging an element inside a handler is only to make sure if you're really getting inside that handler or just above or below a particular code. But it's important to know sometimes if you're actually like to which part is Alexa getting through, whether it's even getting through the beginning of the handler or if it's jumping off, and like what's happening. So it's all about like debugging stuff again, but of course it's like coming to the point that cleaning up responses, this is very useful. Also, it resolves common tasks, as I said, that it's asking the same stuff when it's a skill that does the same task again and again. This is really helpful, and also it avoids common errors because you're keeping track of everything. So I think these are a couple of use cases. So S3 is a pain. The S3 hosted audios are really pain. I don't want to use that exact phrase that I always keep on using because it really makes me sick. I don't really understand what's the issue with the S3 hosted audios. The signed URLs are so big, and I wish there was a way I could contribute to Amazon in making that a bit less. Anyway, just joking. Alright, so I hope that we are clear so far, and we had some initial understanding of what interceptors are, the two types of interceptors, and also we quite understood the use cases of all these interceptors. So yeah, now we're gonna go to the demo part, but before that I'm gonna make sure that I don't have any questions from your end. Alrighty, so if you have any question, you can ask that as well. And also, if you're new to Dabble Lab and if you think the content is great, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Do not forget to hit a like and share this with your friends. And help me grow. That helps me. Alright, so now let's go to a demo. And I want to know, do you have any more questions? I really hope we get some, but I guess we got none. But in case you have any questions, you can ask that. So now I'm going to go to my web browser. So the first thing that we're going to do is navigate to skilltemplates.com. So I haven't talked about the skilltemplates.com for a long time now. So if you're new to this Dabble Labs YouTube channel, or if you're new to Dabble Lab, just know that we have some of our templates in this, and you can navigate to skilltemplates.com and use any of our template. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to YouTube, dabblelab.com/ youtube.com/dabblelab and search for tutorials for each of these templates, because we have a tutorial for each one of them for free, and these are all standard and free templates which you can use in your business, project, and anything. And we'd love to hear from you if you have any comments or any suggestions or anything, or if you want to contribute or if you need help from us. Alright, so today I'm gonna pick up the Interceptors example template from here. Can you see that? Well, that's template 26. So I'm going to hit on template 26, and there's a automatic deployer which deploys your skill code to your Alexa developer console. I'm going to start doing this. This is going to take some time. It's going to ask for my password, which is really annoying. I really hope there's no CAPTCHA. Oh, there isn't. Alrighty, so this is going to take a couple of minutes, maybe one or two. Sungin says that subscribe because you rock. Thank you so much. It's our team effort. We're trying to grow, and we try to make sure that it's perfect as a party. Every live stream. Alright, so this is getting started, and this is going to take a couple of more seconds. Let me drink some water. Yes, you can export the project to your Alexa account. Tech Simplified asks this. Of course you can. So you just gotta go to skilltemplates.com and hit on deploy, and this directly goes to your Alexa developer console. It's free to use, absolutely, and if you're having any issues, you can get in touch with me. Yeah, and also if you really like what's going on today, do not forget to hit a like and share this video with your friends. Thank you. Alrighty, so a few more seconds. So this creates a lot of stuff, the voice model, the validation, and lots of stuff. So that's why it just takes a couple of seconds. And also, yeah, Text Simplified, what's your name? This is really good. And also we are planning to create courses. Actually, we have planned, and we're getting started on creating courses that's going to cover building Alexa skill from scratch. We'll be providing the code, samples, and all the stuff. And that's going to be in Thinkific. We're going to disclose the link really soon once the content is ready. Probably by next Friday, I'm going to come up with something cool, and I would love to see your reaction on that. Alright, so this is done. The next thing I'm going to do is go to my developer account, watch closely, Text Simplified. This is where you're going to learn that this goes directly to your Amazon Alexa account, and this is it. There you go. So now when I open this is directly deployed from the skilltemplates.com. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go and change the invocation name to, let's say, Demo 6. It just be Demo Interceptor. Interceptor. I'm going to build this model because the other invocation name was quite a bit long, and most of the cases there are chances that the invocation names of skills that are normally not too long, like are the ones that are a bit long, they have chances to fail the invoking stuff. So yeah, we could use any name, right? Yeah, you could use any name. The invocation name is not restricted to any stuff. It's like naming your application. So this is a voice application. The skill invocation name is what is the name of your project. So you can you gotta make sure that it's simple, it's short, it's not too lengthy, and it's not confusing, and it's actually a noun. It's actually a proper noun. So if you just do something like abracadabra, then Alexa's not gonna identify that. Like, she could, but that's not quite a strong reason to believe it. So it's mostly essential that you do. And the second most important thing while coming to invocation name, I'm not sure if whoever you're watching me right now, if you're a pro or a beginner or intermediate person, I just want to say when you're building an Alexa skill, make sure that the invocation name is set in a manner that the skill doesn't already exist in the Amazon Alexa skill market. Because most of the cases, let's say you want to create a skill that's the space fax. So if you create a space fax skill, and what's going to happen is there are so many other space fax skill already available in the Amazon, like the market store. So not necessarily when someone's using your skill, that's going to be your skill, the one that you coded, because that particular name is mapped to many more other skills. So it's always important that whenever you're creating a skill, the invocation name is quite unique, so that people don't kind of mess up. So yeah. Samart says that Abracadabra seems like a real good name. Oh yeah, that's a good name, but while talking about code and building Alexa skill, Alexa can give you a real hard time. So make sure that you use it wisely. Alrighty, so now we come to the coding part, and this is our launch request handler. So this is the part, like for our skill, this is going to be set my username. Okay, yeah, exactly like that. Sorry, this is already taken. So this Alexa's not going to even tell you that sorry, this is already taken, but she's going to mess you up in a market of more people who have created more skills, kind of stuff. Okay, so launch, in my particular skill, in this demo skill, launch request handler is supposed to be the very first intent that's going to be going out and that's going to be used. So what's happening in here is I have a launch request handler. So when I invoke the skill, the first thing that's going to go out is the message that's going to be, that's attributes.message. So I used the attributes manager and I created an attribute, and then this message is coming directly from the two functions that I created. One is the request, one for the request interceptor and one for the response interceptor. So you have to make sure that you've created these functions. These are the two interceptor functions that are important for your Alexa skill to recognize what a request interceptor is and what a response interceptor is. This defines the logic for your request and or your response interceptor functions. So this is where your logic is built, and this is where the attributes that we created above, this is the message that's going to get mapped inside of that particular code. And this is something that's going to run before our intent code, just as it is said in here. So before actually this gets out, this gets spoken, this particular message that I'm sending from here, this is what is, where is it? Yeah, this is what's going to come up, okay? This code is going to run in the very first place after I invoke the skill. And once this peak output is completed, this is something that we'll be able to see in our logs. Our request interceptor code is done. So this particular statement is going to come first, then it's going to say a message from our request interceptor, and in the third place we're going to get our response interceptor code is done. This is my response interceptor, alright? And I was talking about registering your interceptor functions. So once you've defined your interceptor functions in here, the request interceptor and the response interceptor, you have to add them to the skill builder to register them. So this is the part where your skill builder is taking effect, and this is where it's getting registered. And this is how you actually register them. So I think this part is quite clear, and we also quite understand what the request envelope is, what are these, and what this attributes manager is, and it's like provides access to request session and persistence attributes. But here we're just trying to attribute up this message, and that's it. So I think that's all about this. Now we're gonna go and do a demo, but before that I'm gonna see if we have any more questions. I guess we don't. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask that to me, and I will be here to answer your question. So now we're gonna move to the testing simulator. This is it. and this is where we're going to test the code. Also, having said that, if you really like what's being done here today and what we've been doing so far, and if you really think this content is really good, helpful, and useful, then do not forget to hit a like on this tutorial. Do not forget to share this with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you have something interesting to tell me, then do reach out to me on Twitter. Of course, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to take up some boring stuff as well. You can do that as well. So reach out to me at this Sohini. That's my Twitter username. I will be there to answer all your questions. So this is my testing simulator. I'm going to make sure that the development mode is turned on. And that's it. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead. What was the name of my skill? Oh, the tab thing. I am so sorry, but trust me, I'm not a very tidy person, and all these tabs, it makes me kind of sick as well. But I think going back to history and check what was the thing that I last used, instead of doing that, it's better to keep the tabs open. I know that's funny, but that's what I do. Sorry, I'm just a crazy woman. Alright, so now I'm gonna test the scale add. So I'm gonna say Dabble Interceptor. Let's see what happens.
A message from our request interceptor.
Okay, I'm not sure if you heard that. So I'm gonna, okay, fine. So this is what Alexa says. Our message from our request interceptor. And as I said, oh yeah, it was Dabble Interceptor. I just found that. So as I said, the first and last thing that Alexa's gonna speak is gonna be the attributes of message, which was in this was a message from our request interceptor. I hope you very well see this in your testing simulator. Now we're gonna see how the request and the response interceptor got registered in the logs and how are they functioning. So now if you go to the, you could hear that. Oh, that's good. So now if you go to the testing simulator, so this is our testing simulator, and once you go in here, I often do it with Ireland because the US in Virginia gives me real pain. I don't understand what's happening. So this is going to be my log. I'm going to open up all. So this is the very first message that executes, and this is from our request interceptor. This message gets registered. So we logged it and we can see the login here. And then comes our intent handler code, and right after this we've got a response interceptor. So I think now you're quite clear on the fact that the very first thing that gets triggered is the message that, or the log, or whatever stuff that's there inside of your, what's that, your request interceptor function. So I'm not quite sure, but this is something that might not be relevant. Text Simplified says, I want to build an Alexa app that checks the whole sentence I speak, not just one word. Example, to check English grammar. Is there a template already in Dabble app that I can use? Well, hey, there's no template for now, but I think there's something that can help you. So the previous day we were talking about Amazon Comprehend. So we have got lots of analysis stuff, like we've got text analysis, we have got the text sentiment. There's also another method that Amazon Comprehend has, and that was the text syntax. That was the, let me check. So let me check. I should have that. This should answer your question. Okay, so now if I go to comprehend, okay, and then if I go to detect, what was that? Let me search. Control F, syntax. Okay, so we've got syntax in here. Batch, yeah, this one. So this particularly gives you the output, whether if it is an adjective, if it is adverb, aux, or conjunction or whatever. So yes, Sangin, thanks for supporting. I think he's correct. So I made a couple of videos on Amazon Comprehend, and those are going out. So in the previous 2 streams, I just discussed precisely in very detail about Amazon Comprehend. I think you can see this. So this particular method of the Amazon Comprehend API responds back with the possible adjectives and all of these stuff. So this is very easy to use, and I have a code example. If you navigate to github.com, go to Dabble Lab, and if you just go to, what's that, Amazon Comprehend Alexa skill example, I'm going to stitch this on the link below. And if you look at this, if you go to the Lambda part, and if you go to index.js, so this is where I've utilized the method. So you can see I've used comprehend.detect sentiment. So what you can do is just replace the text sentiment with this one. Where is it? With the text syntax, all right? And once you have that, just replace it with the text syntax and just see how the data is coming in the backend. Just see the logs for data. And then you can map the response with respect to that. I'm not sure about if I was clear, text simplified, but I really hope that this answers your question. And if you think that this repo really helped you, then do give a star to my repo, and do share this in your Twitter and socials. Samarth asks, do these come in Python too? Well, I haven't coded them in Python because I am not a good Python coder. Python, there's a huge story and history about me in Python. But soon in the future, I'm gonna start with Python because I think the whole hub of machine learning is Python when you want to create and train models from scratch. So yeah. Tech Simplified says, thank you. I will try Alexa Comprehend. No, it's Amazon Comprehend. I can give you a link to this if you want. You can utilize this. But what's your name? I want to know your name as well. I love to know about each and every viewer who comes to my stream, and I love to know their names. I'd love to know your name too. This is something that's going to be useful for you, and apart from that, I'm going to give you another link, which is this, Amazon Comprehend. So this is a natural language processing model. Cool, Amit, you can use this. This is the link for it. So I think that answers your question. Yeah, Python is just ML. Python and ML, it's like 2 lovers. They complete each other. So I think, yeah. Well, I kind of deviated from our topic today, and all right, you're welcome. Tech Simplified. And do you have any more questions, people out there? I think this is pretty much the demo that I wanted to cover up today. And this is a very short demo, but this is, trust me, one of the most useful things that you can ever have. Like, this can simplify so much in when you're writing huge chunks of code. The interceptors could be really helpful, could be really useful. So make sure that you use them wisely, and make sure that this helps you get out of all your trouble. So I really get problems with the Alexa hosted S3 audios. So I think I'm going to use this in my skill that uses those, because those are so long. And lastly, to anyone who's watching me right now, if you think the content that we're sharing, the stuff that we're doing is really helpful and useful, do not forget to hit a like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Samarth asks, how can I use this for cleaning code, as you mentioned? Okay, so code cleaning sometimes involves, like, you want to have a checker. So let's say one of your, like, if you look at this code itself, the one that I was showing, this consists of so much, like, wait, just give me a moment. Yeah, so this index.js, this consists of so much logs. Like I've logged the data, I've logged so many stuff. So now if you go below, again I've logged something for the next intent handler, but I would want something really in between and in the end of these handlers, in between and end of all these so many huge chunks of logs that I've used in my code. I think that's when I actually justify my statement of code cleanup. So it's like keeping it short and precise, and it's like you have a checker between the beginning and end of each and every intent that's getting executed, completed, and invoked. So I think that's my explanation, justification for your question. Well, yeah, so I guess I answered so many questions. I feel so good today. After a long while, I got so many questions. And I'm going to be doing something really cool from next week. And there's a possibility that I would be transitioning from just Alexa to more stuff. So the name of my stream is going to be changed real soon. I want you all to stay tuned. If you really like my stream, of course, if you think my content is good, if you think that we are delivering the best stuff that you want to know, you need to know. And this is it. You gotta stay tuned and you'll get to know what's cooking up for next week and the upcoming weeks. Alrighty, so this is all that I wanted to share today. I really hope I helped you answer your questions. I really hope I added some value to your learning process today. And Sohini says, can't wait to see you do more stuff. Of course, I will. Where can we start? Example, with which playlist from Dabble Lab to get started with Alexa skill development? Oh, that's an amazing question. Well, Dabble Lab is still building a course that does all of the stuff that you just requested for Amit from scratch. But before that, you can begin with the Alexa Zero to Hero course. That's for absolute beginners. But once you've got past that, then you can come to our YouTube channel. We have got plenty of videos and you can check them. So this is, oh, that's me, I'm live. We've got so many videos in here. You can check them. It's all, like, most of them is just Alexa oriented. And it's, yeah, but we're transitioning to have courses for beginners as well. And we're going to include everything that they want to know. Because I think most of the courses by Amazon right now are outdated. But yeah, just stay tuned. Amit will come up with some cool content. Thank you so much, Sungin. Summer says, I am new to Alexa. That will help me too. Yeah, actually, it's like when you're getting started with Alexa skill development, this is really good. This is going to be useful and helpful. And for college students, I think this is a great way to create small projects, mini projects. So, yeah. So to all the people watching me right now, once again, thank you for joining me today. And if you think that we did cool stuff, amazing stuff today, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And share all your learnings in our Twitter. And that's my Twitter username. And you can find me here if you want to reach out to me, if you want to have any questions that can help you. And yeah, that's all for today. And I will see you very soon in my next live stream. This is going to come up next week. And till then and now, you'll be having to see my tutorials that go up on YouTube every Thursday. So if you have any questions, you can always comment on the chats of those tutorials and I will respond back to you with the answer to your question. Till then, have a great rest of your day. That's all for today, friends. Thanks for joining me, and I really hope you have a great weekend and everything goes well. All right, bye-bye. See you.